Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you how to build Ganyu as a support or secondary DPS, and in the next 6 minutes or so, help you decide if you want to roll for her or not. Alright, let's just talk about Ganyu briefly and why you should roll for her. I mean, look at this, and tell me why you won't roll for her, without saying you're saving for Xiao or Hu Tao. Okay, if you still can't decide, this video will analyze all her strengths and weaknesses, and after you finish the video, hopefully you will be able to decide whether or not you want to roll for her or not. Throughout the video, I will be showcasing Ganyu in different teams for you to get an idea on what kind of team she is fit to be in as a support DPS in the background. Let's first take a look at her normal attack. It's basically the same as the other bow users shoot arrows. However, her charge attacks are quite different. First, she has a normal charge shot like the rest of the bow users, but also she has a special charge shot where you charge a little longer, which shoots an arrow called the Frostflake arrow, which blooms after it hits its target, dealing AoE cryo damage. At level 1, the Frostflake arrow does nearly double the damage as a normal aimed charge shot with the bloom. In the next screen here is Ganyu's normal charge and her Frostflake charge. I want to point out, most of you Amber mains probably know this. If you attack with charge shot and hit a weak point on enemies, it's a guaranteed crit. For Ganyu, this is the same thing. Her level 1 charge attack is guaranteed to crit if you hit a weak point. However, the level 2 bloom doesn't have a guaranteed crit. Ganyu's elemental skill, Ice Lotus, is a skill that I will compare to two other characters' elemental skill to make it easier to understand. It works similarly to Amber's Baron Bunny or Mona's Illusory Torrent. Ganyu throws out an Ice Lotus and dashes backwards, dealing an initial AoE cryo damage and will taunt enemies. The Ice Lotus endurance scales based on Ganyu's max HP, and once destroyed or its duration ends, it deals another bloom of AoE cryo damage. The difference between Ganyu's Ice Lotus and Mona's Illusory Torrent is Ganyu's skill does initial cast damage. Mona's skill doesn't do initial damage, but does continuous damage after the skill is cast. Ganyu, Mona, and Amber's taunt all explode and do their respective elements damage, so Ganyu's elemental skill can't be relied on infusing cryo elements on enemies during the whole duration of a skill, only when you first cast it when it explodes. Next, the skill that I think might distinguish Ganyu from the other characters is her elemental burst, Celestial Shower. This skill, for those of you that didn't know, initially costed 80 charges, but they changed it to 60, so you don't really have to build energy recharge as a primary stat on artifacts. Ganyu casts a big AoE that will rain ice shards down on enemies. The long duration make this skill an impactful skill that have good damage and a support buff that will buff 20% cryo damage. With only a 15-second cooldown, you can literally spam a storm of ice shards on enemies with zero downtime on Ganyu's Celestial Shower. Therefore, she will be an impactful character on your team. This skill is a game changer and you can apply cryo on enemies pretty consistently in my opinion. Let's go over Ganyu's pros and cons real quick. For pros, Ganyu's Frostflake arrow have big potential with the passive Undivided Heart, where after firing a Frostflake arrow, the crit rate of a subsequent Frostflake arrow and the resulting bloom effects is increased by 20% for 5 seconds. She is currently probably the highest DPS and burst potential cryo character that is released, that can be utilized in a mode team or improve your cryo team greatly with awesome buffs and utilities for your cryo team in the present and in the future. Also, listening to her idle performance. For cons, Ganyu is a bow character that might be a little clunky for a lot of players, as you can see in the video earlier. Facing against enemies wielding a shield is a bit of a problem by herself. For Ganyu's weapons, these 5 weapons are my recommendations for a sub DPS Ganyu. The 5-star weapons are no-brainers, but if you don't have the Skyward Harp or the Amos bow, I highly recommend the Viridescent Hunt from the Battle Pass. I know this weapon isn't free, but a crit rate substat is great if you aren't running a double cryo team and you can also group enemies together with the Cyclone from the weapon bonus and do a Frostfake arrow for AoE damage. If you lack energy recharge on your artifacts substats, the Favernous Warbow can help generate energy charges much faster. Her stringiness is decent if you don't have any other bows purely for the weapon bonus effect. Since her Ascension stat is crit damage, I didn't really recommend any weapons that have crit damage substats because we are focusing more on her support potential. Next up, Ganyu's recommended artifacts are the 2-set Noblesse, 2-set Blizzard Strayer. Noblesse Oblige gives Ganyu bonus elemental burst damage, and the 2-piece Blizzard Strayer gives cryo damage. The bread and butter 4-piece Noblesse is also a great option for a Ganyu secondary DPS or support, as it provides 20% attack to your team in addition to its 2-piece effects. The stats that you should aim for on these artifacts are crit damage on Hat, cryo damage on Goblet, attack on Timepiece. Try to get at least a few lines of energy recharge as your substats and you'll probably be good to go. If your level isn't high enough to access these dungeons and need alternative artifacts or any other questions regarding Ganyu, feel free to ask in the comments. Overall, Ganyu is a great character to roll for if you need a cryo sub DPS, but also can work as a charge shot DPS if you like that playstyle like me. Hopefully this video helped you decide if you want to roll for Ganyu or not. If you find this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys next time.